Twin Bill, where you can get your fill of hosts Jason and Marcus talking about movies and stuff. You know you never can get enough. A twin is two people who are related. Twin Bill. This season is Razzie Mania. Book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out, maybe. I don't know. You can't stop the twin bill from coming on screen. That's all I remember from the song. Snails might move. Stop a snail, go fast. Cheetah go slow. It's difficult, but it's easier than stopping the twin bill. I don't know, whatever. That was a regular, relevant rapper reference. Okay, rapper. Because it was almost freestyle the way he did it. Oh, I was trying to mimic the lyrics from, yeah, Jock Morelli's incredible music. Jock Morelli and, who wrote the lyrics for all these stupid songs? It was a bunch of different people for, right here. Jock Morelli and Henry Bololo are the mavens of the Village People and the Ritchie family. A triple threat. Okay. Wait, did he write Can't Stop the Music? The lyrics to Can't Stop the Music? I don't know who writes that shit. It was individual Village People. It's credit in the credits. We'll get into it. Welcome to Twin Bill. Let's learn a little more about, segue to the beginning. The podcast Twins talk about movies. Let's do a warm up. So here's the thing. We're going to take turns. We're going to shout out letters of the English alphabet. Screw you, other languages. And then we're both going to do our best with our upper bodies to form that letter. No preparation, no letters in advance. It's just great with a laptop shoved in your face. Oh, thanks, Marcus. Pull out the movie camera. A. You go. O. It's very similar. P. Do you want? R. R. Can't do these letters. This is R. R. Alright, let's go on. Now we're all warmed up. Have fun. Alright, let's talk about the Golden Raspberry Awards. I could have reported history of them, but some guy is like, watch the double bill of this movie and next week's movie, which we're not going to say out loud, and he's like, they deserve an award for movies that suck. And here we are. So let's talk about the movie. The winner of the first Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture, Can't Stop the Music. It was a comedy musical film released in 1980. So Marcus, can you tell me without looking what movie won Best Picture of the films released in 1980, the 1981 Academy Award ceremony? Let's get this. I'm not greatest with years, but this is around. I have an initial guess, and then if it's not that, I think I know it. I think I have a secondary guess. Is this your Chariots of Fire one? Nope. Ordinary People? Yep. Let's get either consecutive or somewhere in there. Can you name the highest grossing comedy film of the year 1980? Jeez. No clues, you can't get it. 80 would have been around. Is this when Animal House came out? Nope, that was earlier. Give me hints then. It's a workplace comedy. 9 to 5? Yes. And then do better in 1980. It's fine, but it shouldn't be highest grossing. Banger of a song and a pretty good movie, in my opinion. Different podcast. Okay, I kind of cheated here because there's no traditional musical that did super great in 1980. This movie didn't do great either. We'll get to that, I guess. But what's the highest grossing musical of 1980? And I cheated with a music-based biopic. Is this like Mahogany? No, good guess. Actually, like similar era. I think country musical. Oh, it's Wants to See Space Technique Norfolk. Coal miner's daughter. Yes, the Loretta Lynn story. This movie is not as good as any of those, no matter what you say. All right. Can't Stop the Music was directed by Nancy Walker, who was best known for being on what television show? I was curious who she was. So I read about her. She was Rhoda's mom on both the Mary Tyler Moore Show and Rhoda. Yeah, Mary Tyler Moore Show is where she got famous, really famous, but yes. And this movie is co-written by Alan Carr and Bronte Woodward, who both wrote and produced, not at the same time, I guess, but what much more successful musical film contribute to their hubris on this film, Grease. Yep. And then we already talked about them producing credit for Henry Bololo and Jock Morelli, who were music producers who co-created The Village People and The Ritchie Family, and the world has never forgiven them. Just kidding. By the way, bit of topical newsiness about The Village People, which you don't expect in 2025. Did you know The Village People played at Donald Trump's request the FIFA concert? No, that makes me think a lot. Well, I guess they need a paycheck, I guess, but should have taken the money. Okay, let's get into the cast. First of all, do you remember what Steve Guttenberg's character's name is? It was based off Jock Morelli, so it's like, I think I do remember now. It's Jeff Morrell. Did you say Jack Morrell? Jeff! It's Jack. I thought it was Jeff. I thought it was Jeff. And then, of course, Steve Guttenberg, best known for the Police Academy films and related 80s comedy errata of higher and lower quality. Diner's probably he's pretty easily his pinnacle. That's a ensemble. Yeah, exactly. A little young in the tooth. And then, so he's the aspiring record producer who works at a record store at the beginning of the movie. Valerie Perrin as Jack's roommate, goes by Sam a lot of times, Sam Simpson. And she has a song made for her called Samantha. Jack's roommate, who really likes recruiting Village People. Can you name a film starring Valerie Perrin that's much better than this? Because all of them are. Yeah, I saw that she was in. I don't think I've seen either one all the way through, but she was in a character named Eve in Superman and Superman 2. Oh, well, obviously recommend that. That's good stuff. She also, I need to see it because it's directed by my boy, what's his name? The philandering dance, Bob Fosse, the Lenny biopic. She's in that. Lenny Bruce, who's not afraid. And then we have Caitlyn Jenner as lawyer and love interest Ron White. So you don't call her. Well, I mean, she's changed her identity now, but I think the idea is that she was always Caitlyn on the inside, even when she was Bruce. Then was the idea. But you call her Bruce if you want. I believe Kate played a character named the lawyer character he played was Ron. Ron White. Ron White. Yes. He does take his shirt off at one point, so he's big shirtless Ron. Yep, and they have the unsexiest sex scene. I don't know if we'll talk about it directly. You know, the lights go off, and they're like, "Oh, take off my clothes. Oh, take off my clothes." We'll get there. All right, and I want to mention at this time, not even star of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, star of the Decathlon. Great acting experience. He's very popular. He's all over the place back then. And I want to mention a couple guest actors that would not be listed normally, but this guy's a pretty big character. Paul Sand, who's one of my favorite character actors, despite never being in anything particularly good or momentous. He plays the record producer. Yes, and Valerie Perrin's erstwhile ex-husband, who for some reason keeps being teased as the new husband or whatever.
He's constantly on the phone. We get it. Record producers get lots of calls.
Star, I want to mention, star of Teen Wolf 2. The greatest Teen Wolf. No notes.
Didn't hear about it just now.
It's Jason Bateman goes to college as the same character.
I can figure out the fucking plot of a movie called Teen Wolf 2.
But instead of wrestling, he's doing boxing. It's a whole other level.
Sure.
And then deep cut, there's a old guy slash sleazy club owner who hints at hooking up with Valerie Print named Benny Murray.
Barely in the movie.
Yes.
I thought he'd come back.
I know, because he's actually a much better character actor and career-wise than my boy Paul Sand. His name's Jack Weston, star of the most underrated, in my opinion, Twilight episode, the one where he summons William Shakespeare to write TV scripts for him. Always all soft spot in my heart for that episode.
Just interesting.
All right, time for quiz time, because we're trying to do trivia in this show. So I'll do rapid fire. The village people are in this movie. I don't know if you're aware. Rapid fire style. Do your best. I will give you the first name of a village person. You tell me what job they have. God. Might be bad. We'll do rapid fire. Alex.
He's the GI.
Yes. David. Wait, what a name.
I just watched this, so I'm going to get most of these.
Listen.
He's a construction worker, I believe.
Yes. Glenn with 2 N's. Hard Glenn.
Which one he's not? So it's a guess. Is he the biker? Or does the credits call him Leatherman?
Come to get you. Yes, Leatherman. Randy. Or, oh yeah, to be top of the village people.
I think he's the cop, and he's not the original cop.
You're wrong. He's not the cop.
Oh, he's the cowboy then.
Yes. And then the worst juxtaposition of name to job, Felipe.
Well, at least they cast a minority. They didn't cast a white person, but yeah, he's the Indian.
Which is also not a good name, but yeah. I'm the Indian. Would you like some?
Oh my God, you're making it so much worse.
Well, it should be, if you're gonna call him the Indian, you should make him from Vindaloo. Make it from Vindaloo.
He works at a convenience store. Great person for a singing group.
It's a bodega. And then Ray.
This is the cop.
Yeah, he's almost my boy because he's the lead singer on, I think, at least in the Navy. He's basically the lead singer of the band. Yeah.
He's the second cop, though.
Second cop. Then shots fired. All right. All right. What do we got here?
I don't know if you're going to get into the first cop in this.
We'll try to... We'll experiment with the show and do free talk after, but I want to do the film reader list, sort of a way to break down the movie's content with analysis. So, I don't know, it used to be the person who picked the movie would determine who goes first. Any other method of determining who goes first on this?
We're figuring out on the fly here. It's a brand new season where neither of us are really picking the films because it's the history of the Razzies, so just one of us starts this time, the other one starts next time.
Well, let's see.
It's your I should call it your podcast, but...
Fine. Because I wrote this extensive thing here, you will go first. You'll see why when I get to number 4 for me. So, you can talk first about the concept of the movie. What is the core idea or the premise? And how would you rate that as a pitch?
Making money. It's the village people. It's probably true. Actually, I wouldn't say. Looking back on it now, the Bee Gees and Donna Summer were like probably higher on the disco chain. But the village people were very popular, and this was the concept is to people be so interested to spend their money on more village people, learn more about them, yada yada. Basically, this is before music videos became a thing, but kind of experienced the Village People in music video form, I guess, and kind of similar to the big screen musicals they've loved in the past, like Singing in the Rain, etc.
Yeah, so the Wikipedia article actually addresses very succinctly the problem with the premise of this movie because it's a movie about disco that was released in 1980, 3 years after the release of Saturday Night Fever, and someone asked Jack Morrell, "Don't you think it's weird you're doing a disco movie 3 years after Saturday Night Fever came out?" And he's like, "I hope people like it. There's different parts."
You mean Jock Morelli, right?
Wait, that was your big takeaway? Okay. I was
Oh
saying
my God.
Alan Carr. Stop. Stop invoking the Lord's name on my podcast. Okay, yeah,
This is an atheist podcast, so I think it's okay.
whatever. Alan Carr said, respond to my note other than stupid
No, I'm
fiction.
distracted now.
Alan Carr, they asked Alan Carr, why are you releasing a disco movie 3 years after Saturday Night Fever came out? And he's like, it's different. And he was it didn't seem like a real answer. So this movie is just like, hey, remember disco movies? We're doing another one. And it just came out too late, and it lacked a lot of succinctness, and the movie kind of demonstrated that. It's kind of meandering.
Well, he's between a rock and a hard place when asked that question because they've already invested millions of dollars and they're probably in production when they're asking this. And they did start in their defense. They did start production in 1979 before the backlash against disco started.
I don't think that's true. It will start earlier than that.
Did it start in 78?
The backlash against disco started earlier, and the lack of disco hits was already happening in the late 70s. Yes, in my opinion.
Okay.
But, yeah. And then another problem with this movie is, which we'll get to, I guess, is that "Can't Stop the Music" is the name of an album that no one remembers from the Village People. Good luck out there remembering from your memory, America, what "Can't Stop the Music" sounds like, because it doesn't have any of the hits that are now associated with the Village People on it at all. And the movie does not have any hits in the soundtrack as a result.
Well, technically, YMCA is on the soundtrack because it's in the movie, but
I remember that. And there was an allusion to Macho Man, but they didn't sing it. They just did it as a joke. That's not a joke. Okay, the next one. Start the next one. Characters. The development and the believability of the characters. God, they're not a lot of development. I would say believability is oddly high in a way because there's a lot of like amiable hanging out, like kind of like pro-gay people being friends and joking around, but there was no development. It was just sort of like, oh, we're like this and we're kind of silly, and then the movie ends. It was kind of like that to me.
yeah, certainly the Village People don't develop. I guess they're happier as the film progresses, they get more successful, but they're kind of happy from the get-go. So the character development potentially lies within the other characters.
Probably Valerie Perrin the most.
And Jack, but Jack's kind of goofy and happy the whole time. He is worried that it won't work out, and then it does work out, but it's not really development of his character. It's just he has a clear goal at the beginning, and then he's just a walking goal. And I don't think she develops either because her character is really bizarre. She's a very successful supermodel who decides to just stop, and then
Recruit random people dressed as occupations.
I guess she got tired of being objectified on camera, but then she's willing to do it when it's to get money for the Village People.
It's-
So there's no character development. It's just a goofy ride along with the Village People with musical numbers laid within. I guess we're going to talk about the plot in a second. So
I was gonna say that. Well, I'll talk about Paul a little bit because the biggest development in the movie they can think of is that her relationship with Ron White. It's a reference to a freaking ABC song. No one's gonna know. But anyway, she rejects Paul Sand for Caitlyn Jenner. But the weird part is that she had already rejected Paul Sand, and she has sex with uh, Ron White in the first act. And then they sort of imply that, oh, where'd she go? Oh, she must have flown to Mexico to marry Ron Sand. It was very, or Paul Sand. It was very weird, like the way they did that, like will they, won't they, rom com thing.
Is this character Ron White like the
Caitlyn Jenner is Ron White.
like the same name as the blue collar comedian who drinks whiskey?
Sounds like a very common name, but yeah, so the name's the same. Yes.
Hmm.
I really like this movie. Oh my god, that's my impression.
Yeah, it's one of the least believable romances in movie history is Ron and Sam.
I mean, they're both like young, able-bodied people.
Oh my god, you and me ain't nothing but mammals. Let's do like doing Discovery Channel logic. I don't.
I mean, they like each other. I mean, I'm not saying it's clever, but it's there.
There's not a hint of them being into each other really until
They bone. Yeah.
yes, it's horrible filmmaking.
Unless
It's about people liking each.
Turn the Lights On be a really good filmmaking, right?
Porn was very popular in this time. Is this your sleazy porn producer character?
Deep Throat 3. Can't stop the music.
Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner. Hey.
Moving on. You could start, and then we kind of address this a little bit, the quality and the naturalness of the dialogue. Conversations as a positive or negative.
It's very bad. Often because you're talking to village people who can't act. And freaking Felipe, who plays the Indian. That's that whistle thing he does, right? It goes like, you can't be doing that, right? It's like, it's got to be a dubbed in sound effect. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Sounds vaguely familiar. Could describe, demonstrate.
It's hard to do because it's like, ooh. It's like a,
He could do it with his mouth, but probably dubbed in after for editing. Yeah.
you take better notes because I thought for sure we'd talk about this sound effect, but
Bad, I get it.
anyways, I'm kind of getting distracted from the dialogue question. It's all about music, the dialogue pretty much, and their attempts to get into romantic drama with Ron and Sam are horribly written dialogue. I don't know if we're going to break down the nominations and wins later on.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. I can do that during the latter part, but not for now.
Okay, so I'll save it, but yeah, dialogue's terrible. They don't. Obviously the focus is the songs. It's a showcase of the album. There's 8 to 9 or 10 performances if you count the Richie Group ones, which are quicker. Richie Group 1, Richie Family. Sorry, Richie Family.
It's funny because they look more like a group than a family, but yeah.
It could be sisters, I guess. I don't know. I haven't looked into the Richie Family, but anyways, yes, the dialogue. I don't know. What's there to say about dialogue? It's obviously terrible. There's no soul on earth, even the person who wrote the screenplay, who could defend the dialogue in this movie.
All I wanted to say is that there were scenes that remind a lot of the whole movie practically, but a lot of scenes reminded me of like if you moved to New York and you went to a party with a lot of gay people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and it'd be a lot of like witticism, quasi witticisms, barbs thrown around. There's a lot of sort of like Valerie Perrin, a really dumb gag. Valerie Perrin drops her contact lenses in the lasagna,
yeah.
and then her best friend, we didn't even talk about, like, looks like a drag queen. She's very strangely dressed.
Hey, lay off Lulu.
Lulu's weird. Okay, I want to talk about Lulu because Lulu kind of has the archetypal like I talk like at this level like I'm kind of silly, and then it never really changes, and then. She's like, oh, you dropped your contact lenses in the lasagna. Oh, people like lasagna that's crunchy. And then it's just like, that level of humor is just like pushed through constantly. Like, you don't get a breath.
I mean, yeah, someone eventually, I can't remember who eventually eats the crunchy.
Some old lady, I don't even remember who it was.
I don't know if that's Steve Gutenberg's mom,
Probably.
and then that's before Ron's parents show up. Anyways,
Yeah, so yeah, the dialogue, not great. Well, like, yeah, it's hard to describe on a podcast because it's just the whole movie, but it's very excruciating and ruins the movie. But other than that's great. All right, the reason I wanted to go first, or this, not first, this order is because I have a structure plot worksheet. This is hardcore to go through. Instead of summarizing the plot like we used to do on the show, now I'll do it in a conversation part. You can answer all the questions. So this is the test. Traditional Save the Cat style, good screenplay writing. Is there a memorable opening image of the film?
I'll say yes. I
What is
mean, it's not the greatest opening ever. Like,
what is it?
it's not technically the opening, I guess, because he gets fired from the record store, but then he skates home. And
Yeah,
it's got problems, but the guy who's does the two songs. He does two songs for the movie. He's not a member of the Village People, and he's not Jacques Morelli or uh he's actually was in Toto at one point. He goes by Jack London or something. That's probably wrong. But anyways, he does a song about New York, and it's Steve Gutenberg skating home through the city, interacting with people, and they use a triple image format. So the visual is the triple image, and the him skating
yeah.
is what I remember. So I would say that's a memorable opening image.
I think the opening image is probably titles and then the record store, but it's just a technical level. But yeah, okay. Not all movies are good at opening image, as we'll see if we go through the show. But okay, we have multiple options here because we start with Jack, we get to Sam, we have the village people in the implied stars of the movie. So who is the protagonist of this film in your opinion? Pick one.
It's tough. I guess it's still Jack, although via your test format, it's part of the problem is it gets kind of muddied.
I think it's Valerie Prim by the middle, and then it becomes the village people by the end. It's very confusing.
I guess I'm kind of because it's Jack's dream, which is the impetus for all of this. It's like to find a bunch of singers who turn into the village people. But it's horribly muddy because I think you could make a case for Jack, Sam, or the village people.
So this makes the next question harder, but whoever is the protagonist, what is their ordinary world before the events of the movie change their lives? So what's the mundanity? Well, I guess yeah,
Just break them all three down, I guess. Jack's ordinary world is he is a record store employee, but more importantly, his head's in the clouds about his musical talent and what he wants to do.
I was gonna say Jack says that he doesn't get respect for his musical ambition.
Sam is a model who I think retires from modeling because she wants to be known for her brains rather than her beauty. Blah blah blah. And that's kind of a guess because she doesn't say that.
So in a better movie, you could link Jack and Sam because they're both seeking intellectual recognition.
But in this movie, it's kind of a coincidence they work together because they're roommates.
And the village people just like have normal jobs as cartoonish caricatures of jobs before in the ordinary world.
The GI, yeah, they have jobs. Actually, I don't know what the cowboy does because I don't think he's an actual cowboy because he's in New York.
I
But
think he was in a bar, wasn't he? Like a disco.
I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, something like that.
The Leatherman's a toll collector. I remember that.
So we're doing a dual, or in this case, like 8-pronged protagonist. Interesting. So what does the main character need to do to improve their life or get out of the doldrums they're in?
I think this is a goal all three potential protagonists share. Well, say three. It's more like seven. How many people? Five, six are the village people. Anyways, the village people plus the two. Their goal is to reach a major recording contract, be able to do music for a living comfortably.
So on a somewhat related note, what is the movie event that changes the protagonist's life slash forces them into the events of the story? What's that?
I don't know. It's the event.
It's pretty vague in this movie. I guess it's sort of Valerie Perrin deciding to go looking for village people or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. That's not what she said, but finding a band
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
The initial problem Valerie and Jack has is they have this great music, but to accomplish what Jack wants, he even says it. Yeah, I need lots of singers. Uh, so yeah, it's finding the singers, three via personal connections in the streets, and then the other three via the horribly wacky audition scenes in the law offices, I guess.
Yeah, it was. I think Ron Lone gave them to them or something.
It's not a realistic law office though, because
Gigantic.
it's got like a Beauty and the Beast style library and
It's gonna go somewhere. Okay, so it's an interesting question. So, what is the quote unquote fun in games? The entertaining activity that happens in the middle of the movie that is often hinted at by the poster. We have the poster of Can't Stop the Music right behind us. It is the village people posing in a heaven-like cloudy space situation. So I guess probably the fun in games is finding the village people.
I would disagree. I have to say the fun in game. It's a musical, so the fun is the spectacle and the music slash singing of the musical numbers. And there's a lot in this movie, but you know, I don't, you're just breaking down the structure, I guess. Right now, I'm not giving our opinions, but the songs have a lot of problems.
Like I said, they're not even the good village people songs.
Right? I mean, whatever. You say yeah, they're not good, but I think by good you kind of mean known, and I don't know. There's hidden gems and all sorts of music that people don't know about.
I'm not judging them based on the fact that they're not famous. Judging the fact that they suck. But yes, okay, yes, music's a good guess for the funny games. So what obstacle pops up near like the 2/3, 3/4 mark that takes away the fun from the protagonist?
Well, this movie's too focused on being happy, so it's too quick. But this actually is an easy question to answer, even though this movie's kind of convoluted. They get his name's Steve, I think. I figured it out. The record producer. They finally convince Steve to come into the record studio, and they perform that awful song "Liberation." Kayfabe. Why did they pick that stupid song as their showcase song?
Because they burned a lot of earlier songs for the dream sequences and stuff.
I guess Samantha was. They should use Samantha or something. That actually might have been the best song. Anyways, the rejection, because he stands and listens to the whole song, and then he says, everyone looks at him and says, "Wasn't that great?" And then he goes, "No, it's not." And then Valerie goes, "What do you mean?" Or Sam goes, "What do you mean it wasn't great? It was clearly great." And she's like, trust me, babe. I've used my intuition all these years, and this isn't it." So it's rejection. They immediately bounce back and come up with this idea for the huge party, which ends up being their saving grace at the end of the film.
So I guess you answered my question that what's the motivating action that allows the protagonist to overcome the rejection of the obstacle and
Yeah, like
save the movie at the end.
basically, like I said, that Sam, fast as a whip, quick as a whip, whatever, immediately moves on to the next idea. There's no. I think this movie could have used a little wallowing, and we're screwed.
Mm.
And I immediately, thank God, because the more longest movie could have been, the worse it would have been probably. But and they do the whole, and then they start that by getting money via the stupid milkshake song. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. You wish it was that song. It's much worse.
Yeah, I actually think a longer movie would have been better because I know it sounds like, oh, this movie sucks, whatever, but it would have not made everything seem so convoluted at the end. Like, it's hard to remember the ending because it's just like, bleh, 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 and then we'll talk about it in a second. Uh, how is the world of the protagonist different directly in comparison in a sort of mirror contrast to the beginning of the movie?
It's by the end.
Yes, the end of the movie, they get their goal. How is it directly contrasted in a clever way to the doldrums of the beginning?
It's a super happy fairy tale ending. Jack and Sam and the village people are exactly where they envisioned, where they have over. They keep mentioning 2,000 people. Honestly, it might even look more like that on film. Going crazy nuts for their big song. Um, so yes, they've gone from wanting music fame to achieving it to a certain extent, and so
Well,
they're very happy and got what they wanted.
I mean, criticism is kind of subtle, I guess, but because yeah, they have the like almost space kind of like the poster, kind of like spacey, like well, not really spacey, but you know, they're famous now. But the beginning, they don't really make it bad enough their situation because it's like Valerie Prince still lives in a nice apartment, and Jack just lost his job, and they're not really clear what that means. They don't talk about finances or anything.
Nope.
The movie could use a little more stakes, like I can't make rent next month or whatever, or it's just, but the movie did not do that, so it didn't feel like they overcame a lot. Like I'd love to live in a New York apartment. Like I mean, that's what it felt like to me. But
Yes, the setup is at the beginning of the movie, a supermodel is covering this record store employee's room and board and rent. It
you know,
doesn't make sense, but
this is what happened to need a sitcom actress to direct her only movie. Not a lot of pedigree there. We'll talk more about that in the bonus part. Okay, is there a closing image that directly contrasts from the opening image?
I guess so. If the opening image is the very brief scene in the record store where he's getting fired, now he's in his leisure suit on a stage, like we described, his dream of musical fame with the glowing lights and the blah blah blah. Yes, it's basically identical to the last question. It's visually what he wanted.
Yeah, see, my pitch to make it a little more stylistically fit is because I agree that like you could argue, oh, record store, life sucks, this is good. If he was at the record store and the first shot of the movie is a vinyl album of a happy band, and the camera pulls out and it's Steve Gutenberg holding it at the store because he has to like label them, then you could have a contrast of the imaginary happy album and the real life happy album cover at the end. I fixed the movie. It only took me, what was it, 80 plus 25, 45 years. You're welcome. All right, back to the regular categories. That was fun. Can maybe shorten that, but that's fun. All right, you go first about the pacing. Does the story unfold at a good rate?
I will come to this movie's defense on this. I would say no, but you don't watch a musical for good pacing, I would say, because even like, let me just cut away to Singing in the Rain. Uh, there's literally they're working on their musical and Singing in the Rain until like really late in the night where it becomes morning, and then Gene Kelly says, or one of them says, "Gene, good night." Wait, it's the morning now. So I mean, good morning, and then they start saying good morning for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it musical numbers slow down the pacing. So yes, the pacing isn't good, but it's, I would say, traditional musical pacing. Although I think there's too many musical numbers in this question. I wouldn't count because there are musicals I like, and I haven't counted to see if this is more than Singing in the Rain or, gosh, we don't like that many musicals. I can't think of another one, but you know,
Yeah. I was gonna say the sort of defense of Singing in the Rain because the movie needs a little more defense. No, I'm just kidding. But 'cause you're saying like good morning" is contrived, and I agree. But this movie does even less contrivance to justify its like things. I can't even remember what they were, but it was stuff like they're talking to one of the village people, and it's like, "Don't you want to do this?" And then they cut to like a red set, and he's going, "I really want it, I really want it."
yeah, that was actually the only daydream of the musical numbers.
So there was just a lot of like stuff was like, oh, instead of like here's a plot reason to sing a song in the plot, it was like, oh, the village people have to do a show. Here's a song, and I find that a lot more exasperating as a person trying to follow the story or whatever. But
I actually prefer that than these stupid plot, semi-plot related musicals. Because I watched The Prom on Netflix a few years ago, and I was like, oh, I have to get ready for my first kiss. My first kiss is gonna be special. And I was just like that. That's not even a song in that movie. But anyways,
I mean, well, obviously, like West Side Story, they do like full plot, and it works really well. So I don't know, like movie's not as good as West Side Story, shocker. All right, so you did that one first. I'll do this one. The tone, the mood and feeling of the script. I described it already. The tone is amiable, but to the point of being forgettable and kind of annoying, like hanging out at a party with nice people who also aren't super clever, but are nice, I guess. The whole movie felt like to me, it was just like a, I don't want to say gay, but New York backstage having fun, winking camera movie. It's annoying. 0 out of 10 on tone.
yeah, it's kind of like a fairy tale, happy tone laced with cocaine. I don't know, high energy, never down. So kind of like cocaine.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of Valerie Prince's character is like, she's not put down by anything that happens, including like rejection from men and financial setbacks and the band getting canceled and all the things that would be bad. Not the Valerie Prince.
Even because they do try to inject relationship turmoil with Ron and Sam, or Sam's like, I'll fly with the producer and record the deal. You're gonna sleep with him? And she's like, what? No. And he's like, that's what you think of me? I'm gonna sleep with him? And he's like, I can't not think of it like that. And then they temporarily break up. And even then, there's a peppiness to it and an immediate resolution.
Yeah. Let me go first on this one. How unique and fresh the story is. Originality.
Uh, well, jokingly, I'm gonna call it fresh because it's the only movie that involves the village people, but like Singing in the Rain, which is about an actor trying to, bounce back from the invention of sound, is kind of what this movie is, where it's going the formation of a group and them becoming successful. It's very cliched to musical film and Broadway. So I would say it's not really that original.
Yeah, I would like to consult an expert just on the listing of it, because there's a lot of movies that I haven't seen that seem like this, like the Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney stuff, and a lot of other musicals where it's like chorus line, where it's like we got to put on a show. Oh, we got to what songs we got to put on a show, and then and those all those oh yeah those things are also better, but this reminds me a lot, and I guess you could say this is the only movie. It's not, but close. That's disco like this. But we'll get into the music in a little bit. Okay, I'll go first on marketability. The potential for the script to be produced and sold. Well, obviously this got sold, but even at the time, like we mentioned, there was question marks from the press at large before the movie got released. Then afterwards, people were like, "Oh, this is a really boring movie about a musical genre we're kind of getting past," and it's not even the best Village People song. So, in hindsight, it definitely seems like a hard sell if you knew that Nancy Walker was not going to direct with a lot of seriousness, and just seems like a hot mess. So it's hard to argue in hindsight that this is like a good idea.
Yeah, they went into it clearly thinking because eventually 20 in total $20 million was spent on the production budget. So to invest that much, you think it's going to make gangbusters back, which it did not. So in hindsight, it was very unmarketable. I think it's tough to make a movie based around a music group to begin with, but everything's working against us that no one had the foresight for the genre or the Village People that there are just certain groups in the music business that they get their few hits in right at the beginning and they don't really have around to. In retrospect, that was clearly the case of the Village People, but the producers and people, the studio thought otherwise, which was an awful investment.
Yeah, I don't think any disco act would be completely solvent. I was thinking maybe the Bee Gees, but even they were
No,
falling apart by the popularity wise by the early '80s. They made some great music in the '80s, but I like that movie better. But yes,
well, they got their chance. Well, that was a Beatles movie, I guess.
no, well, I'm sure we'll get to that. Well, actually, it might be before this came in the awards.
Thank God.
I'll watch it again.
No.
All right, last one for this segment. Mark, you can start first. Start the conflict. Is there a central struggle or tension that is positive to watch?
Well, it's not. It's like we've been talking about. It's not really a gripping movie. It's just trying to get through it because it's kind of we get it. They're disco and there's no way they're not going to get successful at the end. So it's the conflict is very flimsy because it's so obvious that they're going to be successful. Even if you don't know anything about this movie, once it starts, you kind of get the feeling how it's going to end. But I guess there is a conflict because that record producer somehow is the only record producer in the universe. So if he doesn't greenlight it, then no one's going to greenlight it. So, and he's very hesitant, almost to the very end, about backing them. It's like that's the conflict.
Yeah,
And there's no conflict within the Village People the whole time. They love each other and they love everyone from start to end.
they don't even really talk about their love for each other. Just sort of like a assumption. They haven't technically met in the world of the movie. It's kind of weird. But I was gonna say, the conflict movie's weird because our antagonist is Paul Sand, who they hired because he's a funny guy, kind of Woody Allen light, and he's kind of silly, and he kind of goes along with the flow for like 80% of the plot. So they really did not do themselves any favors in terms of like, oh, that memorable villain. It was just another character in their apartment, basically. And yeah, the movie could have done a lot better job of, like we mentioned, just give basic stakes. Steve Gutenberg doesn't get money by X, his legs get broken, or he has to go work at the record store again for some reason. It's just like the movie refused to give failure terms for anything. So I was like, I gotta give conflict without risk. All right, that's all I have for the outline stuff. We could talk about stuff we want to talk about. Uh, yeah, start with I think I mentioned this already. Yeah, this is their like the last album or something like that by the Village People that they decided to make the movie about. So you don't get like my favorite song, Macho Man, which they hinted at, which really made me more mad because remember that awkward audition scene where there was that gay bodybuilder who took off his clothes and like sort
Yeah.
of sang Macho Man. And it was hilarious.
Well, there's more direct homage in the YMCA sequence. One of the bits, there's a lot of bits, it's really long, is Sam running through the locker room with a shirt that says Macho Woman.
Nice. Some of the songs were a little more like peppy, but they lacked a lot of songwriting. Can't Stop the Music might be the best one. I don't know.
It's more obscure because it's in the club in the beginning, but the Sam is the best one. Samantha is the best one. Yeah. Samantha.
Oh, there was that weird thing where they made money with a commercial for milk.
Milkshakes.
And this song was terrible. Literally, I wrote, "Milk song was garbage, and you know it," is my note.
Well, my least favorite was Construction Man's Daydream.
It was funny though.
Ay, ay, ay. I'm in love. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, it felt like they were sort of branching out into a more generic pop, not even like soft rock or anything. It's just like a little less disco-y.
Oh, it's full disco. Jock Brownlee's music, because he did the music for all those songs, except for the two that the guy who's in Toto did, the opening credits song and the Samantha one. Full disco uh, orchestration music behind it.
I guess I associate disco with a tighter, funky beat like Macho Man song, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Got anything else we'll talk about? Oh, we didn't talk about this. The bit of backstage sky I picked up off the Wikipedia is this kind of surprised me because I don't know anything about Nancy Walker, but she seems like a very nice old lady, like for 50 years. But anyway, she she didn't get along with Valerie Perrin because I think Valerie Perrin was sort of a good actor who had her own thoughts, and Nancy Walker didn't like any brushback from her actors. So Nancy Walker stopped showing up to set for Valerie Perrin's close-ups,
Nice.
and yeah, despite Valerie Perrin's relative acting quality, definitely suffered as a result. Line work because of the script, but
Well, one thing I mentioned before is I wanted to go through the noms and wins to see if they deserve them. Probably did deserve them for most of them.
yeah, it's a good idea. I should remember to pull that up when we're talking. Cut this out.
While Jason's looking, I'll score songs for the movie. It's gonna be a magical night. Have fun with your friends. I can't remember that one.
Here we go. So one worst picture, which based on this list is probably deserved. Well, we'll see.
Certainly deserve to be nominated.
Uh,
Just
Nancy Walker lost worst director, well deserved nomination.
yeah, it's the director's responsibility what the film ends up being, and
I would blame Grease producer boy more than her because it was he's sort of you know financial chestnut.
did you read some of his quotes?
Yeah, I forgot though.
He said stuff like people like Robert Redford, and he said to other people, they're the past, they're over 40. This movie features young, exciting people or something.
Steve Gutenberg. Wow. Worst actor nomination for This says Bruce Jenner. I would say Caitlyn Jenner, but yeah.
I mean, he was terrible. The sex scene you mentioned was awful. He has a big part in why the romance scenes don't work. It's the main love story of the movie, and it doesn't work. But I would object to the fact that he's best actor because he's not. He's a supporting character, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like typical Oscar stuff. The romantic lead gets a push, but they didn't really. He wasn't really the romantic lead. He was just sort of fine with Paul Stanley marrying Valerie Perrin at the end, just because the
He
movie's.
was that he dumped her dramatically because of worries about him, unconfirmed worries about her being in love with
Yeah,
Steve, the producer.
I don't even remember that dramatic breakup.
And you remember that terrible dialogue? Because as a joke, Lulu says, "You never know. They could have flown out to Acapulco and got married." And then when Sam eventually shows up, she's the last one to show up at San Francisco. He says, "You went to Acapulco, didn't you?" He's like, "No. What are you talking about?" And she's like, "You didn't go to Acapulco?" Lulu mentioned it as a joke. Why is Acapulco being mentioned again?
Well, they didn't know where Paul Stanley was, so that was a guess. uh, kind of have mixed feelings about Valerie Perrin getting a Worst Actress nomination, because I don't know, that's kind of what they wanted her to do.
I shouldn't compare Valley Print to the Nazis, but the Nazis were a lot of the Nazis were did order to do terrible things.
Wow, shots fired.
But seriousness, I do think you're right. It's whoever wrote the screenplay probably did
It's
get
like
nominated.
it's Grease producer and Grease screenwriter.
Her whole character is messed up. What she's a model who doesn't want to do it anymore. Just talk about creating a character that the audience wants to hate. I mean, it's just.
I thought she did better line readings than most of the cast with the shit they were given. No supporting actor. Well, Lulu got a worst supporting actress. I have to agree with that.
I totally disagree.
She talks like this.
I will die on this hill. She's the best part of this movie.
She talks like a smirking gay best friend the whole movie.
Yeah, she's a sassy best friend. I have to watch it. We should watch it again just to dissect her performance. But no, we really shouldn't. But I just she's actually legit. She actually says some legitimately funny things, and her energy and all the various jobs she does. She's the underrated hero of the group. So I think the Razzies give mass nominations to terrible movies like this when not everyone who they nominate truly deserves it.
I think she deserved it. Stated many times. One worst screenplay. It's pretty hard to argue.
Yeah.
It was Betrayed before it was leaked to film. And then totally have to disagree. Well, worst song should never be for like a song that can be played on pop radio. You Can't Stop the Music is not a Razzie song. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's probably the best. Like I said, it's probably the best song in the movie that was given a chance to play. Not counting YMCA, but
I don't know if the point of this going through the Razzies is to say the Razzies are great. But I think the Razzies are, like I kind of said with Lulu,
just a cultural touchstone of bad movies or whatever.
they picked that song because it's the title of the movie and it's the big ending number. I don't think they actually evaluated all 9, 10 songs in the movie. Do you have any knowledge on how the Razzies voting works?
It's similar in basic construct to the Academy Awards, but it's a lot easier to join the Razzie Academy. They have a pay-to-play system.
There you go.
Okay,
The Academy is made up of people who've earned it.
I understand the Razzies are not good or perfect or whatever. We get every episode.
But we both picking your picking an argument with me, but we both agree that "Can't Stop the Music" is not the worst. And I'm just saying I don't think they evaluated all the songs in the movie.
Like, it's not the worst song, and then you have to go into Golden Raspberry Awards. As good as everything. Right?
Well, if it's not the worst song in the movie, and it won for the whole year for worst song of the year, then they failed in their nomination process for this category.
Yeah, I agree in a much shorter sentence. Yes. So that's it for the awards. Looking at the other songs, I think the Razzies did a pretty good job picking songs. Honestly, but we'll get to that in a later episode. So that concludes this episode. Marcus, would you like to hear about what we're going to talk about next week on this show?
Sure. Hopefully it's better than this garbage.
Well, it is a musical film, but it has I don't know, like caveat, like award or something, but good band associated with it, and a good singer. A singer who may have been in the movie Alan Carr wishes this movie was, a little movie called Grease. That's right. We're watching the other movie that the guy, whose name I should totally have looked up before. John J.B. Wilson. What a name. He watched Can't Stop the Music. He also watched a little movie called Xanadu. Xanadu. Kind of sounds like a similar story based on Reputation, but hopefully a little more imaginative, a little less lame. We'll find out
Yes, we will.
next week on Twin Brill. Bum, 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 bum. Had a clever ending, remember? I can remember what it was. Book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out, maybe. I don't know.